Good day to you. Today I want to speak to you about certain terms we use in economics, how much it has effect on our own personal life and character. Inflation, much of desire, chasing few things. That's the definition of how inflation applies to personal life. I am Dr. Lalit Mendes. Depression, recession, that everybody not having enough chance. So then mortgage, which means what was once yours is now no more, you don't get the dividends of what is yours. Now this is not only about property and house, it is also about your talents, your skills. They are held under a kind of arrest, a house arrest. You are not blossoming and blooming as you should be. There's a court case against you. There's an indictment brought against you. So these are some life phenomena, and then it may be you were not able to redeem the mortgage and then you lose it altogether. Then who will pay the mortgage? Is there someone rich enough, generous enough? So here is the story. There was in a certain city a judge who did not fear God nor regard man. So my proposition is this: if you give up on reverence for God, you will be unjust to man. So when Marx did his doctrine of and then Darwin did his doctrine of survival of the fittest, might is right. What it ended up in is no reverence for God, denial of God, and injustice, oppressing man. That's what it resulted in. So here is a character, he is called a judge. He ought to be a benefactor to the beneficiaries who come before him, but he is abusing his position of authority and power. So this may be in the judiciary, this may be in the legislature, this may be in the executive, but in this case it's about a judge who did not fear God or regard man. So my proposition is that if you stop reverence for God, you will stop regard for man. Consider it and see. As for me, I was an atheist in the first part of my life, and as my knowledge increased, I only thought of making maximum use of that knowledge to find more knowledge, frontiers. And that's how a researcher's mind works. So researchers are not interested in patients' welfare. We are interested in advancing the scope of our knowledge, and then our PhD, then our credit points and so on. Consequentially, patients may be helped, but it's not our main passion. Our passion is how do we do our academics for our glory. So that's another situation where a researcher who ought to be a benefactor may do it for his own sake. No reverence for God, no regard for man. I want you to consider this possibility. If we have reverence for God, whether our regard for man will increase. So when communist systems were set up, those who had party power did as they pleased. So party power became the new capital, and a new set of capitalists were set up in communist states. Of course, they did not call it capitalism, they called it communism, but it was by a few oligarchs who are powerful because of party power ruling the rules. Now, there was a widow in that city, and here are the most disadvantaged, disenfranchised people. In this story, they are depicted as a widow, vulnerable, lost much, lost the husband and lost much. So undefended. She came to him saying, "Get justice for me from my adversary." So here is the triangular battle: an unjust judge who has no reverence for God or regard for man, a disenfranchised widow, and an adversary who is oppressing. Now I want to present this to you, that we may play all three parts in our life's different seasons. we might be so vulnerable, we have no power at all, and we may look like the widow who's defenseless. And others are sitting on her head, grabbing her property, illegal squatters, and politicians trying to take their land or whatever. So we may play the part of the needy one. Then we get a legal power. Many medical students come from quite poor backgrounds because of our standardization system. People from very poor backgrounds can come and become doctors. Then when they become doctors, they can use their knowledge to earn money and of course to become big bosses, which is possible. So when the tide turns, so to say, and you get into a position where you can oppress others and you play the enemy rather than the friend, adversary. Of course, we know in the spiritual scene there's an author of evil, and he is an unseen adversary at work all the time. So in our own life, we may go through, we may be in situations where someone is the widow and we are the adversary, the powerful adversary. So another place it says those who growl like bears and those who mourn like doves. So when you are going in a huge big Pajero or Prado, you can growl like a bear and people have to get out of the way. And then you encounter a huge container and he can growl at you, a truck driver. So scene changes, then you become the mourning dove, someone else is growling at you. So this constantly goes through life. And then there are adjudicators. In this case it is said the judge who should have been the benefactor and the adjudicator of justice, he has become one who has no reverence for God and no regard for man. So I push my hypothesis again. No reverence for God will end up with no regard for fellow man. So the story continues. He would not listen for a while, but afterwards he said within himself, though I do not fear God, reverence God, nor regard man, yet because the widow troubles me, I will give her justice, lest by her continual coming she wearies me. Then hear what the unjust judge said. So now the scene changes. If you know the good shepherd, you are not going before an unjust judge. You are asking the good shepherd to adjudicate for you. Then you come before a loving heavenly Father and you cry to him, making your petition and your supplication. Who cry out day and night. So here God is the Father, not only the judge, he is the father of a family, and you come to him knowing that he will answer you. There's no doubt about it. You are not coming before an unjust judge. So you can see the world scenario playing out. Unjust, powerful people, oppressors, law often on the side of the oppressor, and then the oppressed, no one to care for them, and they're asking for justice. But there's another system that works on mercy, where we are the children of God the Father, and that's about the Father's house. So in the world of an injustice, which looks like a courthouse with people on the dock, people defending, people prosecuting, this goes on and on, but there's another house called the Father's house, where his children come to him and ask for him to act on their behalf regarding powerful adjudicators and evil people who are oppressing them. So he says, when his own come to him and cry to him day and night, though he bears long, he will speedily give them justice. So why does he bear long? One, to get our heart right in this matter, because we also get angry, we want to do tit for tat. Then when our heart changes, God is ready to make our heart the springing ground, the foothold for him to do that which is right. And he gives maximum chance to the oppressor also to get it right, because God is into the business of not righting rights, W-R-I-T-I-N-G, but he is righting rights, righting the wrong. He is not into the business of W-R-I-T-I-N-G, wrong. He is into the business of R-I-G-H-T-I-N-G, wrong, putting it right, getting it right for us. So this is a story of the cross, where he began by saying, Father, forgive them. And this is also the content of the prayer that the Good Shepherd taught his people to pray. Our Father in heaven, may all I do be an honor to your name. That's how it is. So my medical practice, my legal practice, my accounting practice, whatever my field of work is, that God's name can shine forth as mercy. This is what he wants to be known as, a merciful God, not an unjust judge. So we get what we give. So that's how it goes. So our Father in heaven, may all what I do come under your name, be like you. May your governance, rule, kingdom come on my patch of earth, my children, my health, my wealth, my work field. So this is a prayer. We have enough water for us, the water of grace, and we want a little bit of that to ascend as a vapor of mercy, and it will come back on someone else also as a vapor of mercy. We have enough water of grace for ourselves and enough to ascend and come for others as well. This is the meaning of the prayer. Let your kingdom come, your will be done on my patch of earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. So my neighbor's welfare, that my neighbor will also not be hungry, that I'll have enough to share with my neighbor, is inherent, ingrained in the prayer Good Shepherd taught his people to say. And it's a prayer that anybody can say with great profit. Your character will change. Give us this day our daily bread. Then that means if we have daily bread, share what we are keeping for tomorrow with another person. Then it says, forgive us our debts as we forgive those who are our debtors. So life goes on when we hold on to debt. Someone else's wrongdoing we hold on to as debt. We send him a demand note, sort of a fiscal note, a letter of demand. This we may do actually with a lawyer, or in our mind. Every time we meet that person, we get him to understand, you are under demand, you have not fulfilled, you owe me, is what our language says. Unfortunately, parents may do this to children, children may do this to parents, masters and servants. You owe me. And we have written a you owe me check. Rather than I owe you check, we have written a you owe me check. You know, we have I owe you checks in the office. When we take some money for a purpose, we must return the balance. So I owe you check is issued by the office. But we are issuing you owe me checks, so that about what debts we feel, others owe us. Now, you must know that debts don't make us rich. Debts holding what others did not know, did not do, will not hold us rich. We have to let it go. If not, we cast ourselves into a debtor prison. We have gathered a lot of debts. And all the time our mind goes, that fellow owes me, he didn't give me, that fellow owes me, he didn't give me. So there is another little antidote for this. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me, praise his holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is in me. Forget not his benefits. So we can remember all the misfits about our parents, or we can remember the benefits from our parents. So this holding on to debt makes us a harsh creditor like Shylock, wanting to cut out the pound of flesh. That attitude prevails in different relationships between husband and wife, parent and child, master and servant, certainly between government and governed. They did not do this. So when your life is full of demand and you feel your supply is low, you get into anxiety and stress. Very soon you will get into depression. I am Dr. Lalit Mendis. I have many clips on this subject, how to prevent anxiety going into stress and into depression. This is my clip number 438. Please send me WhatsApp to WhatsApp number 074 211 5011. 074 211 5011. Also, I have my app which is free to download, no charges, Golden Nuggets. I am Dr. Lalit Mendis, and you can download it from Google or App Store. My story is this. I became first in the island in the advanced level exam studying chemistry, physics, botany and zoology, and then I also became first in every exam in the Colombo Medical Faculty, batch top. But when my knowledge increased, I found my heart was shrinking, and I did not want any relationships. I only wanted knowledge. I did not know to relate to people. Then I was reading this story about a woman caught in the act of adultery, because I had a chess playing friend who was just telling me to read the stories. I said, these are old stories. Who wants to read old stories? They said, it's only a fool who criticizes what he has not read. So I said, okay, I'll read it and prove to you. Then I was reading this story. It says a woman was caught in the act of adultery, and she was brought before the Good Shepherd. Story is in a book called John's Gospel, and the same story Martin Wickramasinghe has called, and its title is Pau Harrieta Galgasima. So they brought this lady and said, teacher, this woman was caught in adultery, in the very act. Now in our law, we have been commanded that she should be stoned to death. What do you say? They said, testing him, that they might have something of which to accuse him. So when they continued asking, he raised himself up and he said, he who is without sin among you, let him throw a stone at her first. Those who heard it, being convicted by their conscience, went out one by one, beginning with the oldest, because he had more sin than anybody else, even to the last. So when I was reading this story, this same person looked at me and said, that's your problem, you have always a stone in your mouth. Because of debate, start a diatribe, and because of your knowledge base, you can defeat anyone with arguments, but you don't consider the fact that others, they feel very hurt with the way you are dealing with your knowledge. I hadn't realized that. This was an amazing diagnosis. So when I met my friend next time playing chess, he said, why are you not asking your endless questions? I said, it's like this. I have been very arrogant and conceited. I speak to you also in a very condescending way. But when I was reading this book of yours, the story came up about a woman caught in the act of adultery and she being stoned to death. And this response of the Good Shepherd was, he that hath no sin cast the stone. I felt as if I had a lot of stones in my mouth to throw at people in argument. And that has affected my heart to become a stony heart. That does not want relationships or friendships, but only want victory in diatribes, defeats and debates. And I said, how can I change? Then my friend said, you can tell this Good Shepherd to come into your heart and to remove your stones and to put your knowledge not against people, put your knowledge for people. That's the point of change in my life. You can also receive this Good Shepherd who can remove stones in your heart from old incidents, old defeats, old put downs, especially when parents or father speaks down to a child, you'll amount to nothing. That stays with that child. So, this is my talk today. The debtor's prison we get into and put others into. by demanding that more should have been done. And when our demand is, it's like a scale. When our demand is weighing down and we feel supply is low, we call it anxiety. Then to get over anxiety, we have to either increase our supply or reduce our demand. That's what the Good Shepherd helps us to do. He helps us to count our many blessings. He helps us to remember the benefits others have given us. So we learn mercy instead of crying for justice. We learn to forgive others and give them the benefit of the doubt. This is what happens. We learn to put right the wrongs of others rather than write it down and keep it like on a ledger. He did this to me, my father didn't do that to me, and then that can be erased, and that's the story of the cross. So cross is the place all our negatives came, and the Good Shepherd added his positive. He added it. All our insults came on him, all our cruelty came on him, all our barbs, our whiplashes came on him, and he gave us healing. So cross is a legal instrument that he took the cost and paid the ransom of our shortfall. What we have in our mind we should have been, and where we are, and we are all the time telling this did not happen because of someone else. And we go to court in our heart against our parents or whoever, and he gaps up the shortfall and he says, I will pay this freely, you have only to ask me. I hope this helps you. If you want more clips on the digital screen and brain bright, please send me a WhatsApp to 074 211 5011. If you are from abroad, the WhatsApp should have +94 74 211 5011. I am Dr. Lalit Mendis, and my last post was as head of Department of Pharmacology in a state medical faculty. That's why many of my clips do have some subjects relating to pharmacology. And then my app is Golden Nuggets. You can get it from Google Store, App Store, or Google free of charge. Thank you for listening. We'll join again on another day. Usually I do this on Saturday at 11 a.m. Tonight we have a great meeting called Night of Hope. You're welcome to join it in a Zoom link at 7 p.m. tonight. If you need it, please send a request to 074 211 5011. It's a bilingual message for English and similar. Thank you for listening.